Well. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Blue King Crab's gaming channel. Where today I'm going to be doing another mold. I 3D printed this quite a while ago. It's like a collection of like soles. It's a 2-inch. It's a 2x2, so it's a large pack of soles, but it's pretty freaking slick looking. So what I'm going to be doing is showing you my step-by-step process on how I get something like this molded. So as you can see here, I printed it flat on my resin printer. So I have this base that allows me to easily get it off. It gives it enough surface adhesion, but it allows me just enough area to get underneath there so it doesn't suction to the actual print bed when I'm trying to get it off. So what I have here is I have the model. I have a piece of, I think this is chipboard. I buy it in a big bulk. And it's about, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's maybe about a 4x5. No, it's a 5x5. I made a 5x5 square. And then I have here, which is my 3D printed box. And it's a 2-part, kind of goes together like this. The model will be in the middle like that. And it's just enough for a this is a 2x2x2, so it's 2 inches tall, that it would support, that this box would support. But we only have a 2x2, not 2 inches tall. So we'll just fill it up until it's a right amount. But this should be fine. And you can kind of see here already that I put wax on the side of these to seal it, so no silicone will come out the side. And we do the same on the bottom. But I'll be using a controlled, I think this is a wood burner initially. It's not really for wax, but if you lower it down enough, it'll melt wax too, and not like dissolve it. I also have another one already done here. This is a wall that I'm going to be casting as well. I'm going to be doing both of these at the same time, but this is so you can kind of see an already done version of what this is going to look like. So we have a bead that goes up. It goes into this side, but sometimes, a lot of times I should say, silicone will leak into this area, but that's okay because we have the seal here. It's just that's going to be a little bit more we have to trim off. You could probably, if you really want to, put a bead of silicone or a bead of wax right there so no silicone gets in there, but that's a lot of work and I'm not going to do it. But let's get started. So first off, there's these lines. If I put this flat down, it will try to gather these lines, and that's not good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little spools of wax that we'll be using for basically everything here, and I'm going to try to melt it and just cover up some, if not all, of that area. So what we can do is, with it pointing down, so if it leaks or whatever, and I'm just going to slowly fill this in. And I just melt in the wax just like that. And this might take a couple passes. That's okay. We can do a couple passes. You know what I mean? Like, that's no biggie. But we're just filling this stuff in. So the silicone does not... Oops. So the silicone does not try and... Come on, you. I know you can... You should be able to fit this way. If it can't, we'll do it like this. We'll do it like this. Come on, oh no, okay. Well, this one isn't cooperating. That's all right. We'll just put a little bit in there, and we'll kind of push it down a little bit. It's better to do it where the gravity is taking it down. That way, any kind of weirdness can just fall for us. Maybe I can use this. There we go. And yep, just cover all that up. Put in wax in here. The wax is not going to destroy the print at all, so like you don't have to worry about it damaging anything or goofiness. Don't have to worry about it. Do not have to worry about it. And I'm not really worrying about the center much either, because we're going to be putting sticky wax in the center, so that should be fine too. So we're just getting that wax in there. And a little bit more right there. Okay, so then once this is a little bit dry here, we take another look. It looks like this side needs a little more. You can kind of see that it's not really like flush at all. And what we'll do, let's put a little bit more over here, just to get some more on there. The first pass is definitely just, you know, flattening it out or getting the build up there. And then what you can do after is you can take your hot water, your, you know, the waxer, if you have a waxer, and just kind of, we don't want to fall in. There we go. And there's a little spot right there I can't get, so we're gonna try real hard to prop this bad boy up with something. I have to have something here. Come on, give me something. All right, we got an old paint bottle here. We're gonna try to, there. That looks good. And then, like I said, we can do for this, we can just flatten it out like just like that. And this side, flatten it out like that. This side, we'll flatten it out all the way like that. So now we don't have to worry about it trying to get too much in there or anything like that. It is what it is. Yeah, and it can go everywhere here on the bottom. Doesn't matter. See, like this, we can even just paint the whole bottom here with this stuff, because now it's all sealed in and we're good. We still might get some right here and the edges, a little bit that goes in there, but that is not going to be as bad as the entire thing getting in there. Okay, so then what we do is we need our sticky wax, and a sticky wax is a different type of wax than the one I just used. This is more like, it's a jeweler's wax, but basically this is the stuff you make candles out of. The sticky wax, I'm not quite sure what this is made out of, but it's really, really sticky when it's heated up. And we're going to put this bad boy right here in the center. Now, it doesn't need to be perfect, because the box will fit here and then some, but the closer we are to the middle, the better. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take our sticky wax, get a good dollop right there. Just like that. We're going to heat it up. We're going to get it kind of mushed around there like this. Just like that. I'm going to flip it, and we're going to press it in there. I'm going to press and hold for a second just so the wax totally gets, you know, seeped into the chipboard. Just hold it for a couple seconds. It doesn't take long to cool. But then there you go. And now if you look closer on the edges, oh dang, we got a little bit of seepage right there. That's probably not good. So what we need to do is we need to grab an X-Acto knife, and we just need to get that out of there. Because if we leave it in there, the silicone will pick that up, and we do not want that in there. Let's see here. Looks like I can't get it off. That must be the sticky wax that kind of fell out. So, let's see if we can melt it out of there. Alright, that looks like it did better. So we melted it out of there. Much better job. Okay. So, we now have the model in the middle-ish, right? Like I said, it's not in the exact middle, but close enough. So we're going to grab, I would say probably 2 sticks of the jeweler's wax. So 1, we have a little bit left over here, and 2. So we can see it all like that. Now there's a little bit already on here, so that's always good. And now we want to try our best to get this centered as best as we can. So that looks about right. I mean, it's pretty dang close. It doesn't need to be perfect, but anything will be better than nothing. So what we can do is, now I'm going to turn this up just a bit more, just a bit hotter. So on my thermometer gauge here, and the existing wax, I'm just going to touch to get started. I'm just going to touch it because it's going to help me basically put that first layer of wax on there for me. So I'm just going to touch it all. That's why I don't try to take it all off, because I can just reuse it if it's there. And then we will start with the welding process. This is kind of like if you ever soldered something or anything like that. It's basically exactly the same. We're just basically touching this and getting them to mold together or wire together. The biggest thing that we don't want here, though, we don't want any seams at all. No seams. Because if there's a hole, even a pinhole, the silicone will find it. The silicone always finds the hole. It always does. And if you have a hole in your mold box and the silicone starts leaking out of it, yeah, that is a rough day, because silicone ain't cheap. It is not cheap. So having it be wasted because, you know, you didn't take just a little bit of extra time here on this particular stage and make sure that all your holes are covered, I mean, that's just, you know, that's a lot. So just come in here, take your time, you know, come through every single edge, every single corner. It doesn't take that much time. It just, you just make sure that you're really vigilant on making sure that all the corners are completely done. But this allows you to just touch it. And yep. Get a little bit more here in the corner. And there we go. So let this fully dry, and then maybe hit it again in some of the areas where you think that it might be not completely sealed. Just take a second, you know, look at it. Maybe lower the temp on your waxer, so you're not totally just turning it into a melting pot. Just, you know, turn it down a little bit more, and then that should help with the creation. Now, when they get really small and you don't want to touch your fingers with this hot iron, right? It will hurt. You can just lay it down, something like this. Just lay it down on the board, and then you could just touch the board just like this, like that. And then you can just race it across. Obviously, I'm putting way more wax on here than I need to, but this is just for a demonstration. You don't need this much wax. And the same for over here, you know what I mean? You can just lay it down, and then that way you don't have to actually touch the hot iron. Okay, but that's it for this. So in the next step, we are going to actually create and pour the silicone. And in that step, I think I've showed it before, but I'm using a silicone I bought off Amazon. It is, let me move this out of the way. It is called this BBD INO Platinum 30A silicone. This is what I got off Amazon. It came pretty quick. The viscosity of this is really good. I am very happy with this. Now, this 50-minute pot life, I don't know. I never really tried to get it all the way to 50 minutes. I try to get this done as quickly as possible. But I have a vacuum pot, so I stir this rigorously, very, very, very rigorously, and then throw it in my vacuum pot. Give it about maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes in the vacuum pot at around 28 to 30 negative PSI. I don't know what it's called actually, but for the vacuum, and that seems to get everything out. And the small test is, you know, is this I would agree with. I don't know how long the shelf life on this is, but I do so much casting that all this, it doesn't last long, right? This particular one though, it is, look at this. It's food contact safe, skin's contact safe. So it's okay. Just make sure that you wear gloves. I mean, I would still just wear gloves all the time with this stuff because you never know what's going to happen. Put down something. Personally, I'm not going to wear gloves, but I'm saying don't do as I do, right? Put on gloves because it's a sticky mess if you get it everywhere. I do have paper towels close by, and that I do recommend and I will probably use. So let's get started on that. And to do that, I have a pot here that I got from Ace Hardware. It's an all-purpose container, but look back here. It has volumes, and since this is a by weight, this is a 1x1 by volume, low viscosity, I can put the same amount of what am I talking about here? The same amount of this stuff, the silicone, in here, and it will fill up. So like if I go 8 ounces, I need to do 16 ounces. That's equivocally the same amount by volume. So we'll just fill this up, and then we get the mixing, and then we can do the vacuum and get all that stuff done. So the other thing I have is I have this big rod, or it's a stir stick for paint, but I just use it for this. It's very big, so I can get in there and stir it really well. So I'll be using that as well. And then I'm sure I showed this before, my vacuum pot, but here, let me show you here. The vacuum pot. So this is the vacuum pot, also got off Amazon. And yeah, we'll be taking it all the way up to that maybe 28 to negative 30 psi. So that's what we'll be doing. But yeah, I will mix this up and we'll get it into the vacuum pot so you can hear it and see you there. Alright, so we got this now. And I have not degassed it yet. So we put it into the degasser. We put this on top. Alright. Then we make sure it's on there pretty good. Now, when you close, this is closed. This is closed, but we got to turn on the machine first. So nothing's going on, but as soon as we open that up, see, then it is going. And you'll slowly start to see the bubbles come rising out of there. See it slowly starting to climb. The bubbles, once they take off, you'll see it. They'll take off. It'll start rising up. See how it's starting to rise? This is why it's good to do the silicone in a container that's at least double the size of the amount that you're trying to mix. So since we mix 16 total ounces of silicone, it's in a, I don't know what it's in. It's in a 24 ounce. I think it's a 24 ounce. Yeah, it's in a 24 ounce container. We have way more than enough for this to totally come through. So here we go. Watch it start. Soon it collapse on itself when most of the air is out. So it's starting. Still growing. Told you, when I mix this stuff, I mix it up. I tell you what. But this is why I really like this particular silicone, because of the low viscosity. It can really get all these bubbles out that I mix into it. Because when you heavily mix like this, it gets a lot of bubbles in it. So it's important to either have a degasser or, find a way to get all these bubbles out of here. Maybe by painting the mini, or whatever you're trying to cast beforehand. So there we go. So this, I'm going to let it stay in here for I don't know, probably 10 minutes or so, and then we'll come back. All right, so catch you in a bit. Okay, so we got them both here, both ones. I'm going to do this one first because it's more important to me right now. But we have the degassed silicone. And what you got to do for these is start in a corner, and we don't want anything to fall onto the model. So we want to make sure that when we do this, we pour from a pretty good height, but also that we don't get any on the model. The higher you pour, the more likely you are to get all the air bubbles to fall out. And the slower you go, same concept. So small stream. And we're just slowly pouring it here. We want this to go all the way to the top. Usually also a good idea to look, make sure nothing's leaking out, because at this point, if you had a leak, it would be a pretty bad deal. Now I have my hot wire, my waxer on, just in case something like that happens. Okay. And that should be good for this one. So now we just gotta wait the allotted amount of time that it says for that to do it. Now, the same concept here. Really small stream. These have a lot of little holes, so we want to make sure that we get them all out of there. So this one, small stream, but we don't want to go too fast. So that's a little fast. Just let the silicone do its work. This part isn't erased. You spent all that time being patient. What's a little bit more time? And we're letting it go slow like this so the silicone itself can push all that air out for us. So we don't have to worry about reintroducing air into this model. There we go. And then once it's all in there, you're going to dump it in there like that. Now I have a little bit extra left here. So we're going to put a good dollop in there. And then we're going to put any extra that we have back into this one. Now the other thing you can do when you have a lot of extra, I shouldn't say there's a lot extra. I mean, look, like there's very little. What you can do is you can either just put it in here like this, have fun with it, have a nice thick base, or what you could do is you could put it on a flat surface like this, let it totally cure, and then what you'll have is you'll have a little bitty silicone mat that you could use for whatever kind of purpose you want, right? So you know, just let it sit here, totally drain out, and then there you go. You have a nice little circle silicone mat that you got. And like in here, just leave it in there. It'll be fine. Once it's fully cured, then you can pull it out. Same thing for this. I ain't going to touch this until it's fully cured. That way it's easy to pick up. If I tried to do it now, it'll scooch all over the place. It'll be a mess. Just leave it. Leave it there and let it totally cure. And I got a little on my finger. Let it totally cure. Let it totally cure. And you can pick it up then. Same thing for both of these. I'm going to let them totally cure, and then they'll be fine. So until then, I'll catch you there. So give me a minute. All right, we are back. I'm pretty sure these are both done. It's been quite a while. We're going to open up this one first, and I might give this one some more time. Just to be sure, better be safe than sorry. You can probably hear my heater in the back. But you can see it's all done in here. And I wanted to show you all this as well. See, so there was a little extra in here, and so what you can do, as you can hear, it just all comes out of there, and you can reuse the cup. So, and then you can cut this up if you want, and then you have a little wedge if you wanted to use it for something. I don't know. You could also use this for bits, which is what I will do. I won't use this. This is paper thin. But what you can do is when you have like just a little bit extra, you can cut this up like this. And then you can use these little bitty pieces to fill up molds that you're maybe just like a little bit short on. So you cut them up like this. Try not to have any flangy pieces like that. So you cut these up like that. I'm gonna throw this piece away. But then you can stick them inside, so you can like stick them down in there, right? And the silicone will just, you know, stick to this, and nobody will ever know that you have little bitty silicone pieces in here. So scraps, you can use these as scraps. Silicone is expensive. Don't waste it if you can. Okay. Anyway, so what we usually do for these, it's since it's just wax, it should come right off. You can see that it's coming up just like it did before. And there we go. You can see that this came up, and then we have our piece right here. So what I'll do is I'll take a very sharp X-Acto knife. This is a brand new one. And then I will cut around the edge, trying to get as close as I can. And actually, let me zoom in so you can see it. Actually, I think I might need my glasses. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to cut nice and slowly all the way around. I'm turning the piece, not my hand. This way my hand stays still. And then sometimes I'll move it like this. So here we go. You can kind of see it coming up. And that's good. That's what we want. Almost turned around. We don't want to cut the actual mold if we can. We can avoid it. There we go. Okay. So then this part should just come right off. See that? Very nice. Let me zoom back out. Okay. So that now we have a nice clean edge around here. I'm just going to use that for that. Now we're going back to my older one. But what we'll do here is then we'll cut the edge here on this side, because this isn't actually all that important on this. So we'll just cut all the way across. From here, we'll cut all the way across. Cut all the way across, just like we did on that side. This is just cosmetic. This actually doesn't do anything. It's just to make it look pretty. Doesn't actually do anything. Just keep that in mind. So if you don't make it perfect, that's all right. Doesn't actually add anything to the mold itself, to the cast or anything like that. Oh, did I not get this? I thought I got this, but maybe I didn't get it enough. There it goes. Oh, it was just a little thicker. That's all right. Okay, the reason why I left these two sides is because there's probably silicone, guarantee it, that's going down into there. So I'm just going to leave it. So for this, we just come open the two sides. We kind of crack it. You can kind of hear it crack. Yeah. There we go. And I think I put a video up here not too long ago about me doing this, getting all this off and how I do it and stuff like that. You can use scissors. You can use, you can use anything you want really. So if I take my scissors here, you can kind of just cut, cut, and you can cut up the middle there. We'll do this way maybe. Doesn't need to be perfect at the first start, you know what I mean? Just kind of get it off. There we go. You can throw these away. Give these a nice little cut again. And then if you want this to be really nice, right, you can just take this. You can take the sharp one if you want. Yeah, let's take the sharp one. This way we can really get in there. Just watch your fingers. This stuff is sharp, right? So don't want to lose any fingies, just making a mold look nice. There. There. Okay. Yeah, that all looks good. So then what I like to do is I like to put it at a 45-degree angle, something like this. Just line it up, something like that. And then, yeah, I cut in there, 45 degrees, get that chop off there. Same, line it up here. Just giving it that good cut. Just like that. Just like that. Now what happens is that usually I get these little spots right here, and sometimes I can chop them off, but sometimes I can't. So let's see if today is a can or a can't. Yep, can. You can do that to all sides if you want. Just give it a little chop. Chop. That side too. That side needs it. Chop. Just to give that a nice little edge there. Alright, same thing for this side, right? No, this what I usually do is I usually push it down. That way I can get at it easier. Again, this is all cosmetic. This doesn't actually do anything. So if you wanted to, you could just leave it alone. Not touch it if you're afraid of like damaging your silicone mold. But I think it's a good way to practice cutting silicone, right? So that's up to you, though. I don't want to say you should or shouldn't. I just like doing it because it makes my molds look just slightly more professional. And looks is everything. For some people, right? For me, I get way happier when my molds look good, as well as are good. It's a 2-for-1 deal for me. All right. Now since I shot those little silicone balls everywhere, I'll be probably finding them for months. Alright, now we can do the main event. Main event, easy. All we have to do is slowly push this bad boy out. There it is. All done. You can see, mold's not damaged. The wax down here, what you could do is you could heat this up and all of it will just melt off if that's what you wish. Or just leave it on there. It doesn't really do anything, it's just wax. But inside, let me see if I can get a good view in there. I don't see any imperfections at all. I'll need to take a closer look myself. Nope. I don't see any. Now, the other thing is, though, that this, I can see it visibly. It doesn't look like this is flat, and that's okay. When I put this into my my pot, I'll put a little piece of silicone on top of it to make it flat. That way, it doesn't have a bubble, or I don't have to worry about anything like that. You just push something on here on top, maybe even another one of these bricks, right? So if I have another 2 by whatever brick, I can put them on top like that. So one's making the other one's flat kind of thing. That's a good idea to do. And yeah, just a little brick. And these are dump molds, technically what they're called. You probably don't need, you don't need to have a pressure pot. But for this one particularly, because there's so many nooks, so many crannies, I feel like it could easily get bubbles in it. I personally would use a pressure pot, specifically for this one. but know that you don't really have to if you don't want to. But it's probably a good idea to give it a shot. Yeah, that's pretty good. I might do a video on this particular one of me mixing, pouring, and maybe trying to get my pressure pot going. That way everybody can see it. But yeah, that's the video, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed it. Until the next one, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.